In our last class, we discussed the basic of web development. We talked about the difference between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We talked about their connection, what each of them has a role to do on a website, and we discussed about the role. And we navigated our way on how to download Visual Studio Code, which is our code editor or our working environment. But one thing I forgot to tell you is that you can actually do everything on your laptop, or sorry, on your phone, being it iOS or Android. You can actually do everything on your phone. The only advantage a laptop owner will have is that laptop screen or desktop screen are wide enough so you can portion all your work on the same screen. So as you are editing the code, as you are writing the code, you are seeing from the other side of the screen what is actually going on the real website. So that if you make a mistake, you will quickly go there to correct it instead of switching from another screen to go and check what is going on there. So if you are interested in becoming a programmer and you don't have the resources to buy a computer, you can actually drop a comment in the comment section and I will gladly answer you. So with that aside, let's get started. Today we'll be talking about, we'll be diving deep into HTML and what is HTML. Let's look at HTML on a non-technical analogy. So an HTML is just like a way of giving a command to a computer while programming. A way of giving a command to a computer while programming. That is what is HTML. And that drives us towards our first command in web development. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code, the one we downloaded last week, like in our last video. We go to that video and then go to our Visual Studio Code and then we demonstrate our first computer or web development command, as I can call it. It looks like this. So the one we downloaded last week, I hope you remember. Okay, let's go there. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code, and here in the Visual Studio Code, there is something I want to draw your attention on. This HTML CSS is the folder we created. This is a folder that will contain all our code inside. And then the second, inside this folder, we have a subfolder inside this folder. We don't call it folder, we call it file. But I'm just telling you on the best, that is the best way that you will know. It's like a subfolder, but we call it file. So inside this file, all our code are inside. This is where we write all the code in. So I named this index.html. You can name anything you want, but the conventional way of doing this, or the professional way of doing it, is index.html. Just write it exactly the way I write it. And if you don't watch the last video, if you want to create it, you can just go to this button, this new file button, and then create it and name it index.html or what you want. However, there are some important things you must know. This .html must be there. .html, and this HTML is not in capital letter. All of them are in small letter. So take note of this. If you don't write it like this, it will not work. So .html is telling the computer that any code inside this file belongs to HTML. So it reads every code inside this as HTML. You know, there are a lot of code, the HTML code, CSS code, JavaScript, Python, CSS, and some of them look similar or some of them look the same. So if you name it .html, this is telling the computer that read everything here like HTML. This is it. So if we go back to our own folder, our file explorer, and we go to our desktop, in our desktop, you will discover that this is the folder we are talking about, HTML, CSS. And if you open this folder, inside this folder, you will discover that this is our index one, index.html. The .html is here is that because the .html is another, belongs to the code editor. So here it's display index. So this is it. Okay, let's go to our Visual Studio Code. Now on our first line, we are going to write our first command, and the command we will be writing is less than, button, and then greater than. Let me zoom it so that we understand what is going on. less than button and greater than, as I write it. Here inside this middle of the space, you can see our cursor blinking there. So we can put everything we want to put here. For example, let's put click and then Control S. The very best way of saving our code. If you don't want to use Control S, you go by the left corner. Let me zoom it somewhere here, and then you click on it, go down, and you will see save, and then click here. This is how to save our code. But in case you don't want to save it like that, you just hit Control S on the keyboard. So here we have given a command, and then let's go to our browser. For those of you that downloaded the Lifesaver I gave you yesterday, I asked you to download a Lifesaver, something that looks like this. This is our Lifesaver. If you want to download it, you just hit on it, and then it will take you to this place. I have already downloaded it. That is why it's showing uninstall. But if you are downloading it for the first time, it will show install. Then you click the install. Once it's downloading, once it has finished downloading, it will show you disable here. But if it is showing you enable, that means it is yet to download. So that's it. So let's go back to this section, and from here we go into our HTML, and from here we can right click this, go down and go to copy path. But if you already have the Lifesaver, which we downloaded here already, you don't need this part. All you just need is go to an empty space like this, right click, then go down, and you will see open with Lifesaver. You click it and it will automatically open with your Lifesaver. So here it is, it has opened. This is our Lifesaver. This is what our Lifesaver has opened. This is our live website. Look at the button we created, and we right click. This is it here. So we can click on it, but for now we haven't given it further instruction to do anything. So it just created it. So if you click it, nothing will happen. Okay, so let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, and here we are going to give another command. Here we just click enter, and it will take you to another line, and here we do the same thing, less than p greater than. Let me zoom it again, and here the site is, our cursor is still blinking, and let's put anything we want to put here. Then we'll see what will happen. Let's say the Lord is my shepherd. I'll hit Control S to save. Then from here, let's zoom it. The Lord is my shepherd. Control S. And let's go back to our website. From here, we go to our website, and there is no change. So what really happened? I will tell you what exactly happened in the future. Then here we can refresh our page. Once you refresh, we discover that what we wrote there has been automatically reflected on our live website. This is what we wrote. Now, in HTML, we call these elements. We call those things tags, but the generic name for this is called HTML element. HTML elements is anything that can be displayed on a website. And the next thing I will want to draw your attention to is this. How do we write it? In every language, there is something we call syntax, rules of syntax. What is syntax? The rules that governs every language. If you is one that speak English, if you speak English very well, if you want to call someone to come, you tell him, come here, come before here. And if you say here, come, you reverse the statement and say here, come. Humans can still understand you and figure out what you are trying to say, and they will understand you perfectly. But computers are not like that, and the computer will throw an error on your face. So these are rules of syntax. So here on the screen, these are the rules. This is how to write it. For example, here, if we decide, here, if we decide to remove one of these tags and leave it like this and save it, let's go to our website and see what exactly will happen. So we go to our website. We refresh it, and you discover that it has gone. That is to say, it is showing an error. But if we go back, to our code editor and then put it there again, and hit enter exactly the way it was. So if you go back to our website and refresh it, it should show. Yes, it is now showing back. So these are the rules that governs this HTML, those syntax. We call them syntax. Okay, so in our next video, I will be showing you some other HTML elements, and we will be adding CSS to our work gradually. For now, our website is here faceless. There is no colors. It's as ugly as anything. No color, no good font. And then our next video will be adding font, adding colors, and doing a lot of things. If you find this video interesting, please like and share.